Shalom everyone and good morning. The sun is almost rising here in Galilee, and these are breaking news. For those of you who are not yet informed, Israel a few hours ago began a ground invasion into southern Lebanon. This is part of Operation Northern Arrows. This is part of our attempt to remove the danger from the border in the north and get back home. So I'll wait for you guys to connect, and I'll give you an update on recent events, because we're in a state of war right now with Hezbollah, with the Lebanese arena right now, and I may not be able to make it to connect for a proper Mideast update, but I do want to inform you, update you. If you're not following me yet on Telegram, then you may not know that huge escalation in the north. As you know, Israel is no longer refraining from operating in Lebanon. I guess 2 weeks ago it began. Today, 2 weeks ago today, the pagers started beeping, and then the day after, the radios started beeping or started exploding, and a couple days later, the most significant elimination of the Hezbollah group of commanders in the Dahia quarter of Beirut, southern Beirut. And of course, the creme de la creme, after a significant air campaign throughout southern Lebanon and even the north, came then the elimination of the entire top command of Hezbollah, including Nasrallah, and that took place during Friday. And since then, Israel has been pounding its enemies everywhere, whether it's Damascus, whether it's other places in Syria, in Lebanon, of course, but even as of 2 days ago in Yemen, the Houthis. Now, we move to phase number 2. And phase number 2 is rolling our troops and tanks into southern Lebanon in eliminating the ability of Hezbollah to carry out an October 7th style invasion into Galilee. You need to understand that the October 7th was not the idea of Hamas. Originally, it was the idea of Hezbollah. Hezbollah has been working on and training on for an event like that, only it wasn't supposed to be the Gaza area, it was supposed to be Galilee. Hezbollah built up a huge force called Radwan Force, trained them very carefully to carry out that mission. They armed them to their teeth, they trained them well, and then besides the weapons, they dug hundreds of tunnels under the ground so they can surprise Israel in the north and take over Galilee. Hezbollah announced that. Hezbollah trained for that. Hezbollah was proud of that. And Hamas noticed that. And Hamas wanted to steal the thunder. And they did. October 7th came, and they stole the thunder from Hezbollah. And then Hezbollah was dragged into this war against its will, because Hezbollah was the one that wanted to take the glory and do all of this. And Hezbollah is left now with capabilities to carry out an October 7th, but Israel was already alert, on high alert, and ready. So they couldn't surprise us anymore. Since then, of course, we destroyed most of their commands and control capabilities. Their top commanders are all eliminated, but there are tens of thousands of Radwan forces and other Hezbollah terrorists all over Lebanon. And there are tens of thousands of weapons and rockets that are still stored in many different places. Anti-tank missiles and anti-aircraft. Now, last night, I mean, for you guys in America, it's evening already. But for us, it's already morning. It's October 1st right now. And last night for us, which means a few hours ago for you guys, we destroyed several buildings in Beirut that were storing anti-aircraft and anti-ship rockets. So we're destroying the capabilities of Hezbollah to hurt our forces as they are attacking Hezbollah targets. We are eliminating systematically every target that we know of. I want you to know that Israel was well prepared and well trained for this war with Lebanon. Why? Because that's the war we were aware of that we need to fight. We neglected Gaza. We underestimated Hamas. We didn't think that they're going to carry out anything significant. We invested billions of dollars in human intelligence on Lebanon. That's why we're so successful right now, because we are running targets bank that consists probably 20,000 different targets across Lebanon. So we know, and we've been following the same house that has been marked as a target for the last few years. We know everything about each target. And when we see there's a new target, then it's being added, and now we start following that one. And so everything that we destroy right now, these are approved and a target that we've been following for the last few years. Again, we are well equipped and ready for this type of war. That's the war we thought we were going to have to fight. Then came October 7th and surprised us in the south, excuse me. By the way, even on the morning of October 7th, Israel was still convinced that the rockets that Hamas is shooting is just a diversion for a coming Hezbollah invasion. The very first special forces were actually airlifted to the north, thinking that the invasion is coming from the north. That's how much we were obsessed with the northern arena, and that's how much we neglected Hamas and human intelligence there. And we were in complete darkness when it comes to Hamas because we were underestimated them. We looked down at them. We thought that these are Palestinians. You know, what can they do? They're not Hezbollah. Well, Hamas is almost crushed completely. No one heard anything from the leaders of Hamas for the last couple months. They may have been dead. And now it's time to take care of business in the north. Now, we are systematically destroying weapons across Lebanon. We are destroying smuggling routes from Syria into Lebanon. We are destroying manufacturing sites for weapons, drones, and rockets across Lebanon. And there's only one thing that you cannot destroy from the air. And that's, of course, the underground tunnels. You have to go in, roll in with your tanks and your infantry. You have to find those tunnels, go inside those tunnels, clear them, and then detonate them and destroy them. That we must do with tanks, engineering corps, and all of that. Another threat that we have to remove is the threat of anti-tank missiles that can only be fired from a short distance from homes of Shiites, the supporters of Hezbollah. So we will eliminate any position that is endangering the Israelis that we want to secure their return to their homes. So right now, Israeli troops entered into southern Lebanon to eliminate the possibility of another October 7th. And to eliminate that, you need to roll your tanks, engineering corps, special forces, and find terror targets, destroy them, find underground infrastructures, clear and destroy them. And again, I mean, yes, we are super successful. We have already taken from Hezbollah almost 50% of its capabilities, but the other 50% are tens of thousands of rockets and tens of thousands of terrorists. I mean, this is a monster. It's a monster that is threatening the entire Middle East and the entire world, if I may. And that monster cannot be destroyed within 2 days and cannot be destroyed only from the air. Unfortunately, the elements in the US administration leaked the information about the coming Israeli ground invasion probably 2-3 hours before the actual invasion began. I don't understand why they do that, because it's not going to change our plans. It's just going to put our lives in danger. But I can tell you that the calls of the US president for a ceasefire are ridiculous, because when was the last time he called for a ceasefire in the north throughout the last year? Everywhere Israel is initiating a response, then the world calls for a ceasefire. Our northern border has been exposed to thousands of rockets for the last year, and nobody called for a ceasefire. Why? Because Israel did not respond. Now that we finally respond, everybody calls for a ceasefire. Unbelievable. I want to tell you something. We're not the same. It's not the same people. It's not the same leadership. It's not the same mindset. The progressive liberal junk that was filling the minds of politicians and mostly generals is now stored elsewhere. And we are determined, we are resilient, we have perseverance, we have patience, and endurance. And the people of northern Israel said, take to the IDF, take your time. We will endure more rockets, and we will stay away from our homes for, if you need a couple months, take it. 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. But promise us that you finish the job this time. So when we get back, it's not going to be for a month or two. It's going to be for 40, 50 years. So folks, it's not easy, but we have to do it. We're determined to do it. The US elections is US elections. I mean, we stopped caring about what the two candidates are telling us, especially what the president and the vice president are telling us right now. We don't care. Honestly, you know, you guys do your thing, we do our thing, and let us take care of business. This is a unique opportunity, once in a generation, that comes to take away, to remove cancer that has been spreading so fast and choking everything here in the Middle East. A lot of people are happy seeing the demise of Hezbollah. A lot of people in Iran, in Lebanon, in Syria. This area is filled with millions of people who wants to live good life. They are tired of the Iranian Shiite bonanza of destruction, death, and annihilation. They're tired. And so I want to direct you to my Telegram, because I wrote there several things and I mostly refer to Iran. I think everybody knows that Iran is next. Now, if you're asking me biblically, can Israel or will Israel destroy Iran right now? No. Biblically, Iran has to still stand there to join the Ezekiel war. But Iran can be, and maybe should be, crippled in order to wait for the Ezekiel alliance to have their revenge. In Israel, the Prime Minister put Iran on notice yesterday. Apparently, they are ramping up their attempts to assassinate Israeli political figures. So the Israeli Secret Service just announced that yesterday, that there is a growing number of indications that Iran is trying to do that. We also strike in Hodeidah in Yemen in a clear message to Iran that we have the ability to get to Iran, and we can also do to you what we just did to the Houthis, destroy their oil infrastructure. And we can do that. And I think that the plea of the Israeli Prime Minister yesterday to the Iranian people, and it's all on my Telegram channel, that the video of Benjamin Netanyahu speaking in English to the Iranian people and telling them, we have no war with you. In fact, we love you and support you, and we know that you suffer under the Ayatollah's regime. We know that. But the threat that Israel sent to Iran is this: if you guys will attack, we will attack strategic locations in Iran. And there's only two types of strategic locations in Iran: their oil and gas industry and their nuclear facilities. This is it. That's all they care about. And that's strategic for us. So Iran was put on notice. This is the right time to do it. If you ask me, again, once in a generation, things can flip so fast, and you can be on the winning side, running fast, destroying them while they're still confused. These type of opportunities don't come that often. We have the legitimacy to attack because we've been attacked. We have the capability, we're well equipped, and we have the determination. These type of things, the entire nation is united. Some stupid politicians may not, but that's why they're politicians. But the people, oh, you should go to my Telegram channel and see the prayers at the Western Wall last night. Tens of thousands of people are gathering, praying for the soldiers, standing behind them. Everyone, it's time to remove this cancer. It's time. And again, biblically, and it's important that you understand. You know, I'm following social media of a lot of Jewish people that are trying to cover the events. Jewish people, some of them live in Israel, but most of them living in America. And you know what is the most common thing they write? They write, we live in biblical times. Biblical. Everyone understands this is biblical. Everyone understands this is far above and beyond us. This is something big. This is something remarkable. This is something only God could flip everything 2 weeks ago. And Israel is now crushing its enemies. And they're on the run. They've been exposed. You see, they were banking on our fear. For years, we've been injected with fear that the Hezbollah will cause us hundreds of thousands of casualties, that it's impossible to destroy Hamas, that Iran is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's going to choke us. I mean, listen, this is the fear that also gripped the Israeli generals. And overnight, with one event, the pagers, everything flipped. And you won't believe me if I tell you, Israel did not intend to operate the pagers 2 weeks ago. And the reason why we had to switch it on, the reason why we had to do it is because Hezbollah suspected something is fishy with them. And we didn't want to lose that opportunity, because for years this operation was in the making. So in a timing that was not even ours to choose, it was divine. This pagers attack came, and the radios attack came, and the eliminations came, and the sheer destruction of Hezbollah's capabilities. And now for us to look a year ago, just so I can illustrate the change in the mindset. A year ago, Israel was afraid to remove a tent that Hezbollah built next to our border, a tent. And now, every night, we are destroying buildings in the heart of Beirut. The fear barrier is gone. That which crippled us. You know, fear can freeze you, and it can paralyze you. That's, by the way, what the enemy does with sin in our life. Then sin becomes something that, you know, takes over, and then the enemy says, now I've got you. You're paralyzed. Now you have to be afraid. And we as a nation, and the generals and the military and the politicians, we were paralyzed with fear until 2 weeks ago. That mental barrier is gone. And we're now all in for cleaning up operation of this Middle East from any threat for our existence. And so I want you to understand that we live in biblical times, unbelievable times. Very rarely a generation gets to experience things like that. You know, if there is one game-changing event every few hundreds of years, very few people get to experience that in their lifetime. Here we are. We live in the turning of a page of a book. People before would read from the same page. We see the turning of the page. We're moving to a new phase. We're about to see unbelievable things. It's time to get serious and to get ready. So I want you guys to continue to pray for Israel, to also examine your own life, and remember biblical times, historical times that also require standing up for the truth, strong spine, and not being afraid of what the mob and what the enemy is going to say. This is it. That's it. Kick that fear away. Stop letting it paralyzing you. This is it, folks. All night long. I slept about 45 minutes last night. All night long. The F-16s were taking off and landing and taking off and landings and bombing everywhere. They just took off. Hear them. That's what I heard all night long. This is it. Amazing. So, first of all, do me a favor, share this video. Social media is 100% suppressing my myth. That's why I have my Telegram channel, because social media is just playing games. See? Here you go. So, That's music to my ear. That's a good morning. So again, check my Telegram channel. Because of these events, I may not be able to give you a proper Mideast update tonight, but I want you to share this video right now. Press the share button, spread it everywhere, and stand firm for the truth. Thank you.